What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Haas Talks, the show where Haas Talks, located right here at the Haas Talks studio at Bob's Turn 5, Port City Raceway. Hope you're having a great week. This week's episode features Chad Boespflug. That's right, Chad Boespflug, the USAC sprint car driver. He's driven all kinds of stuff. And guess what I found out? He used to run micros at Plaza, back at Lemoore. The what? He name drops one of the biggest micro builders right now, Hagopian. Yeah, that's right. That right after this break from Performance Electronics.
Performance Electronics, custom electronic solutions. From design to manufacturing, let us put your ideas in motion and become your company's full-service electronics manufacturing experts. Performance Electronics.
Welcome back to Haas Talks, everybody. Like I told you before the break, Chad Boespflug joining me on the show. Man, it's really cool that you actually took time to fly from Indy to come out here and just be on Haas Talks, man. It's so cool. I mean, I'm almost fangirling a little bit, you know.
Get to hang out with you, and then just so happened Shane Stewart was here too.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
You know, Sean Stewart is in the house, as Lubbock calls him.
Yep.
Chad, you've been friends with Shane for a long time.
Yes,
you guys were business partners as you guys explore that entrepreneurship and I almost said entrepreneur instead. Pit Stop Potties was you guys' deal up in Indy, and you kind of picked a crappy time to start that business, really, right?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't obviously you didn't need any hiccups or anything like that. It all started, Shane and I we were on our way to Charlotte, and we were just talking about just different things. And then we get to Charlotte, and they got all the portable sanitation stuff there. And I don't know, it just ended up leading into that. And then all of a sudden, COVID hits, and it's like we can't even go out and shake anybody's hands and do anything like that. So, it was a learning experience. We had some decent little deals going, but it just didn't take off, you know. And I've got lots of other things going on myself, too, with still doing, you know, sales for Capital Renegade full time, and then I've got dump trucks as well myself that we do, you know, heavy hauling and all that stuff around Indianapolis. So I got got a lot of irons in the fire.
Very cool. So for people that watch my show and watch Haas Talks, they may not really know Chad Boespflug, but you're a racer too. Like you can get it on. Like you have some quick times. You've won at Eldora. You come from racing. Like your family is hardcore racing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what kind of racing it was, really, right?
Yeah, I mean, my grandpa, my mom and her whole side of the family is from Columbus, Indiana. You know, my Uncle Randy was in class with Stewart and everything with Tony, and so always was race fans and involved in racing and NASCAR and things like that. You know, how it all started for me was my dad was in prison guard in California, and Russ Kyler was a maintenance guy there, and Russ raced micros and midgets, and we ended up, you know, getting hooked up with him, and the Hagopians had a couple cars at the track, like a little play day, and we went to Plaza Park, and you know it was like $150 or something. Your kid can go race, and next thing you know, Dad and Grandpa bought a race car, and it was a booger chassis that Mark Hagopian, Jake's dad, built there in Visalia or in Hanford area, and next thing you know, we were moving to Indy after I finished high school and was racing pretty much full time hardcore at it. So
that was a big name drop for my viewers, because that name Hagopian is huge. Yeah, like Trump would say, it's huge. You know.
Yeah, we had plenty of battles, you know, with them and the Hamlins and the Facinos, and I mean grew up with all those guys racing micros. You know, we would race 3 nights a week. We'd race Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you know, we'd race Plaza, Lemoore, and Hanford. I mean, it was just, dude, I probably raced as much then as I did once I moved to the Midwest.
Right.
You know, we went to sprint cars after micros, and we didn't race that much. We raced like Saturdays.
You're like, whoa,
yeah,
what's this?
Like all of a sudden we raced.
Yeah,
we'd have, you know, instead of racing 60 nights a year, we'd race 25 to 30. So, it was fun. You know, it's cool to always kind of come back and see how the micros have evolved now. You know, I was there when Pace Chassis started.
Right.
We were running PMPs. Scott Kaufman started Pace. We got in the first, you know, I think we got the first, what was Multi then, which is Outlaw now, but we got like their first win in the Pace car there, and it's just cool now though to see, right? Like Gordon Steros always did our motors, and Gordon's still involved, but then there's all these other guys now, and Yeah, so I mean, it was it's been cool to watch it evolve for sure.
What year-ish was it that you started micros, that you were,
I started racing micros in '98 in junior sprints.
Okay, so it's 1998.
Then
That's a long
so
time.
I ran the
How
one.
old are you?
I'm 33.
Holy cow!
So,
carry the one.
Yep.
You were
Added up.
man.
I mean, I ran 125s with 250s.
Yeah.
There was no restricted class. Then we moved to 600s, and there was the 250s and all that started dying away, and restricted had started. And then obviously ran the 600s for a couple of years, and then went on to sprint cars. So.
Man, that's pretty epic.
Yeah.
So your family is originally from the Indy area, Indiana?
My mom's side of the family is, and my dad's side of the family is from California.
Okay, so was it an easy transition moving from California to Indiana?
Absolutely. Like, I wanted to move to Indiana.
Right.
Like, when we would come back and visit family, and I would always tell my mom and dad, like, I want to move to Indiana.
Right.
Like, and more so before even, like, I realized how big racing and sprint car racing was. But even when I was racing micros, like,
Right.
I don't know, Indiana was just always cool. And then obviously go to the sprint car ranks and then, learn more and more and more. And, then realize that Indy's the place to be if you want to race sprint cars.
Wow.
Non-wing sprint cars.
Yeah. So what year was it that you moved to Indy back?
So I finished high school in 06, graduated, and then moved to 07 was my first year in Indiana.
So 2007, you go to Indiana. You're like, hey, I'm this kid that's been running micros.
Well, I ran sprint cars in California.
Okay.
So we ran the USAC or the SCRA 360 series.
Right.
And then ran USAC CRA for a year, and then moved to Indiana.
So you're kind of establishing your name in that
Just trying to,
rankings,
but yeah.
Whatever.
Getting beat every night, yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to learn somehow.
Exactly.
Son.
No, yeah. Yeah.
So you go to Indiana and you get to race at some of the tracks like Bloomington,
Yeah.
Lawrenceburg.
With Dave Darlin and
Yeah.
John Stanbro. Yeah, so it was cool. Like, the move was awesome. Grandpa sold his house in California, bought some property in a shop in Indy, or in North Vernon, Indiana, and moved there. And obviously got our butts kicked every night when you move to Indiana. We were winning races in California,
Right.
but it's a whole nother level in Indiana. So you learn really quickly, though. We ended up picking up a couple wins at North Vernon and some other places in Lawrenceburg and stuff. So you learn to adapt, and you realize if you're gonna cut it or not.
Now you've picked up some sprint car wins with USAC and things like that. I think it's 9, maybe 10. You have some quick times. You've won some awesome races.
Yeah.
Like, you've won some what I would consider crown jewel races. You know, like the Let's Race 2.
Yep.
That's a big race.
Yeah.
What's that like? You're strapped in at Eldora. Like, I've never even been there, but I can just imagine. Like, you're strapped in, pushing off for the A feature. Are you like, man, we're a top 5 contender tonight? Or are you like, dude, we're winning this sucker. Give me another tear off.
So like that night, like, obviously the first night Brian won.
Yeah.
And I felt like we were really good. We qualified good, heat race good. And just, I think we ran 5th or 6th the first night. The second night we didn't do much. We just changed a few things, and next thing you know, we were good. I remember they had a red, and I'm on. I stopped on the front stretch, and Davey, my crew chief, he's standing there, and then Rob Hoffman is right next to him, and he's yelling to Brady, who's like parked kind of behind me, and he's like, "You're gaining him. You're so much faster than him." And I'm laughing because I'm like, if he's that much faster than me, he would have at least showed his nose. And I just chuckled, and Davey's just giving me thumbs up, and it was funny because they were like trying to play games, and
right.
So I mean, that was one cool race where it was. I felt like we had it locked up,
right.
really. I mean, obviously you always feel that way or hope that, but we were really good that night, so it was cool. And then I honestly haven't been worth a crap there ever since. So
one and done.
That was my second USAC win. So I always was like, man, like, I don't want to be a one-hit wonder. Like, I want to win at least 2 USAC national races, because there's guys that have only won one, and that's great, and that's something to be proud of too. But I'm like, I don't want to be that one guy, that one-hit wonder. So we clicked off, 5 or 6 that year. So
that's pretty outstanding.
Yeah. So
the Amati race, you won the Amati Classic?
I won the Amati 68 lapper.
Man,
that was a wild one. That was actually red comes out like lap 30. I'm like, how many laps left? They're like 38. I'm like, what? We have a whole nother feature. I'm leading. I'm like, what? Oh my gosh. Yeah, but that was cool. I think stuff like that I really enjoyed.
Right.
like you had to legit conserve tires.
Yeah.
And like they had a fuel stop, but like, I mean, fuel, you still kind of had to think about it. Like
right. You
the
still
same
had to-
time.
right.
Because you didn't know when the fuel stop was going to
Yeah.
be. They basically laid it out like we have a red. We're
going fuel
stopping.
stop.
If we have a yellow past certain point, we're going to throw it, you know.
Right.
So you're like, I mean, you could legit go till you just run out of fuel. But,
Yeah.
So it was cool. We did that. That was a couple years before. One with the Hoffmans at Bloomington. That was a cool win.
Because that's right. You did drive the mean green car for a year, right?
So 2016, 2015, I kind of drove for Amati and stuff, and then 2016, Easy Hour and myself took my stuff and their stuff, blended it, and had our own team. And then that was the year, you know, we won Eldora, Badlands, Eagle. Trying to think of where else, New Egypt. You know, we won everywhere outside of the state of Indiana. We didn't win one in the state of Indiana that year. But so we did that, and then the second year, Richard Hoffman called me, and got to drive their car for the year. We won that race at Bloomington. I mean, we had a decent year. It wasn't great, so then the next year, kind of that went away, and put my own deal back together, and that's been the journey. So I haven't had my own stuff. I mean, I did, and then I just got tired of managing my own teams.
It's a lot. It's a lot of work.
Oh yeah,
a lot of work,
Yeah.
especially whenever you're racing at that caliber, at
Yeah.
that level.
Absolutely.
It takes a lot of work. So have you always been like a non-wing guy?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, obviously, so when I grew up racing micros, it was always wing stuff. There was not a non-wing class in micros then. So, but went to doing the USAC or the SCRA 360 deal, and then the USAC CRA stuff. It just kind of was the way to go.
Right.
Where I grew up in California, and up north, it was all wing sprint cars. But where I grew up in the valley, micro or non-wing stuff was kind of the more popular, especially with the 410.
Right. So now you've dabbled in some wing cars and everything else. I mean, do you still prefer the non-wing over winged?
I went and did the wing deal. It was fun. It was different. It was a challenge. Not that I was,
You didn't go set the world on fire.
But
or
like
anything, but you were still competitive.
Yeah, I mean we were good, but like I just wanted something different, a challenge. You race the non-wing sprint cars so much, and you win some races and do well. You expect a lot out of yourself
Right.
and everything. So it was fun to go wing racing and not have those high expectations, right? Like, I mean, if we run 10th, that's awesome.
Yeah.
with the All-Stars
Right,
or whatever.
right.
So the expectation was there, so it was fun again. I told my wife this. I said when I was like, man, I really think I'm going to start slowing down racing, not do so much anymore. I said, I've never necessarily made a living racing. I've spent my living racing.
Right.
I've always had a full-time job. So that was kind of where I got to the point where I'm like, I need to see what else is out there. Either find some rides or just take some time off.
So you're still available as a driver.
Absolutely,
Like if
yeah.
I were to call you up to race like a race, called the Dirt Duels, would you hop in a micro at Port
Absolutely.
City?
Yeah.
Man, so there we go. Now you're here at Port City Raceway. You fast forward a few years from 1998, your micro days, to
Yep.
now 2021. You're at Port City Raceway, what I would consider, and I may be biased, the micro capital of the world, Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Mecca. You're here. Your buddy owns this
Hanging
racetrack.
out, yeah.
What was your first impression? Have you ever been here before?
No, so I had never been here before. And obviously being close friends with Shane, and he was kind of, hey man, I think I'm gonna, we're
Right.
gonna move. That long before a lot of people even knew.
Right.
We talked, and he asked me questions, and I asked him questions,
Yeah.
like to make sure. Obviously it was a great opportunity for him, and for him to come back home essentially. So, but yeah, no, never been here. So obviously when he started telling me about it, I started pulling it up on the internet and checking it out and all that. And I think he made the right decision.
And I heard a funny story that you pulled up a race on Flow Racing and you're like, wow, this announcer is like something else. I just want to say thanks for the compliment, even though it wasn't directed directly towards me, but hey, I appreciate it. So whenever you come here for the first time, you got here earlier this week.
Yeah.
Because with work you had a delivery of, Shane was like, he had a motorhome, a trailer, a mule, and 2 sidekicks or something like that. Like you had a big delivery that you made down here.
Yeah.
Take care of a couple of your customers. So that gives you the opportunity to kind of spend a few days with your old pal. And check this out. Whenever you got here this week and you very first pulled into the facility and you're looking at things, was it one of those things that you're like, holy cow? Like what was your first reaction of like seeing the facility?
it was awesome. I'm like, man, this, I've been to a lot of racetracks,
right,
all over the United States, and some great, some not so great.
Right.
So, no, it was cool. I mean, and obviously, I talk to Shane all the time. So, we talk about, equipment and different things like that, and what he's doing to the track and what he's fixing. And every now and then he calls me for ideas or whatever. So, I've seen steps, but not like been here to look at it. Right. And, only ever seen pictures of the bar
right.
on social media when people are hanging out drinking and having a good time. So, no, it was cool, man. We pulled in and I'm like, man, this place is pretty awesome. So, then walked out on the track and kind of I was like, man, I'm ready to race on this thing. Yeah, I want to turn some laps. So
that's cool.
No, it's cool. It's a beautiful place, awesome place. And, you're going to advise people to come out.
You're going to get to take in the racing here tonight. Like, do you have any, as you sit and watch as a race fan, not a racer, are you like, do you sit there and nitpick what guys are doing? You're like, oh man, come on, dude, you could be so much better if you just open your entry. Or do you find yourself coaching other drivers?
Or I like think to myself, man, you could have, too soon, right? Slider too soon.
Yeah.
Like, wait, oh yeah, definitely. You're always picking that stuff, and not necessarily telling the guy, but you're thinking like, how you would have done it or how you think you could have done it. But again, and I always say it's different from their seat than from my seat, or vice versa. Yeah, it's a different game. But no, it's cool, man. It's it'll be exciting to watch tonight. So, I critique Shane, tell him everything he's doing wrong.
Please.
Drink
I'll give you
beer.
a pad.
Yeah, drink his beer.
Yeah, open the tab. We'll have an open tab in here for you. Just do whatever you want to do, man. Run it up. That's great. So outside of racing, like racing isn't your full effort, full life right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of you've kind of put it back to simmer a little bit, and maybe you'll come back and stir it one day and throw the fire suit back on. Now your attention turns towards family. You've got a family started.
Yeah.
I got to meet Maverick today. He's 18 3/4 of a month old.
Yeah.
And he's a fun little dude. What's it like being a dad versus just being Chad Boespflug, the race car driver?
It's awesome. I mean, like, obviously I've raced hard for a lot of years. 60, 70 races, all over the United States, and got to the point where, obviously the whole wing deal didn't work out and gave me some time off, and I was like, man, this is kind of what like a normal Saturday night's like, just chilling at the house. This isn't terrible. But, then obviously shortly thereafter you're kind of like, man, I kind of wish I was racing again.
Right.
But, obviously, with Capital Renegade, we're extremely busy. With my dump truck business in Indy, we're extremely busy. Very fortunate for those two. And then obviously with Maverick around, just enjoying time with him. We built a house this last year, so, doing landscaping and all that stuff with that. So,
right.
We're plenty busy. The Capital Renegade thing's been insane. So it's been kind of nice to take a break, step back. Obviously, Maverick's probably going to end up in a race car at some point in time. So I always tell Christine, like, it's going to be nice that we're not burnt out and over racing because we kept doing it ourselves. And we're just like, when he's ready or he wants to, it'll be fresh and fun again and exciting.
Christine, your wife, how did you guys meet? Are you like one of those, she was a trophy girl and we fell in love?
No, she was
6 months later, she finally called me.
No, nothing like Shane's. No.
There's more than just Shane's. I mean, you think Brady Bacon had the same success story.
No, well, but it was all at a racetrack.
That's the only reason why I want to be a race car driver. Find my trophy
wife.
Girl.
Yeah, no, Christine was at the racetrack. It was Indiana Sprint Week. And we were hanging out. Well, I was racing Paul Hazen's car. And then like the next day she slid in my DMs. She'll say that didn't happen, but I've got proof on my Facebook Messenger. So I always like to throw that in their face. But so we started rapping. That's how it happened.
Man, that's another success story at the racetrack. If anyone wants to slide in my DMs, it's at Haas OKC. I'm just kidding. My girlfriend probably killed me if I said that out loud too loud. So are you an early morning guy or like a night owl?
Early morning.
Early morning?
Yeah. My business is I'm up at 5:30 every morning.
Up early to bed early?
Anymore, yes, kind of. Like obviously I'll be in the office doing the dump truck thing, then it transfers over to Capital Renegade. Then 6 o'clock rolls around in the afternoon. And, let's go to the house, hang out, have dinner, and chill with Maverick, and or work around the house or do whatever, and asleep probably by 11 o'clock.
Man, That makes for a long day.
Yeah.
A lot of juggling around.
Yeah.
Are you whenever you're up, are you like, we're up, gotta have breakfast? Are you a breakfast
No,
guy?
I'm not
or are you
breakfast.
like
I roll right out the door. Shower and out the door.
shower and out the door?
Yeah, let's get it.
You're a
Plenty to
lunch
do.
and dinner guy.
Yeah.
Are you an early lunch or late lunch?
It just depends. Depends. I mean, 11, 12 o'clock.
Because around here we're late lunches.
Yeah.
Like if we even get lunch.
Yeah.
The slave driver that runs us around here. Like
I
he didn't
bet.
even remember. I'm like, hey, bro,
lunch
it's
break.
4 o'clock. And we haven't eaten
We're
yet.
required this by the state. Yeah. 30 minutes.
Thankfully, Lane is here quite a bit, so Lane helps me remind them.
When he gets grouchy for lunch, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lane, for that. I appreciate it. So whenever it comes down to cooking at night, dinner, are you the guy are you the Grill Master 1000?
I'll get on the grill, yeah. I'll get on the grill. Christine is in the house.
She'll make those side
But
dishes
a lot
up.
of times, HelloFresh, the
yeah.
Martha Stewart deals.
Those are easy.
Way easier,
And
the perfect
simplifies
amount.
life. Yeah,
the
you're
perfect
not-
amount, like
You're not
too much.
cooking goulash for 50 people and there's only 2 people eating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So no, we've been doing that a lot, or we'll go to dinner. Just
Right.
depends. I mean, I'm typically my days are pretty busy, so
Right.
answering the phone and all that. So
Favorite food?
I'm a pretty big pizza guy.
Really?
Love pizza. Yeah.
I wouldn't take you for a pizza
Christine
connoisseur.
gets annoyed because I'm like, she's like, "What do you want for dinner?" I'm like, "Pizza."
Really?
She's like, "We've had pizza already this week." I'm like, "Yeah, but I
Yeah.
like pizza."
Yeah, but
We got Noble Romans. And I thoroughly enjoy Noble Romans
Yeah.
pizza. Yeah.
so Shane's a big chips and salsa like Mexican guy.
Yeah. We had that for lunch today.
So something that you two have in common, that you and Shane have in common, that I learned by our friend Justin Fiedler with the dirt tractor,
Yeah.
right? Is that you guys are both OCD.
It's very.
Is that do you guys like mesh well, or does your OCD try to outdo his OCD and then it becomes a battle of the OCDs?
No, I don't think so. But we like rag on each other. Like,
Do you have a good Shane Stewart story?
of him OCD?
Yeah,
Like, not really. I mean,
because I've got one.
like we always so I went to Mexico with some friends, and Shane and Jen weren't able to go, and we're like, man, I wonder what Shane would be cleaning right now if he was here. Like, you know what I mean? So then we text him that, and or when we bought our shop, and Shane's like, dude, you need to clean those walls, and then then I'm like,
then you're like,
I didn't
oh my
pay attention
gosh,
to it
yeah.
yet. Yeah. So then it's fun.
So ever since Shane has
Ragging
bought
each
the
other.
racetrack, this is something for the viewers since Shane's not in here to defend himself.
Perfect.
Ever since he bought the racetrack, he's been on a clean spree, right?
Yeah.
Cleaning everything, like reorganizing
cleaner.
shelves, glass cleaners
Yeah.
everywhere. So he started cleaning the machinery. Have you heard about this?
Yes.
So we have a Massey Ferguson tractor that
Yeah.
he's like, it had a leak on it or whatever. His dad takes it to fix it up, brings it back. The thing won't run. They roll the tire off the bead. So then he gets the road grader one day, and he's like blowing everything out of it. And there's like, seriously, there's pop cans in there from like 1960, right? And so he gets it all cleaned up, and he power washes it, and then he goes to move it, and it won't start. We're like, Shane, stop cleaning the equipment.
Learn your lesson.
Just learn
Yeah.
our lesson. Leave the dirt on it. It's holding it together. But it's opened up all of our eyes around here to going, man, wow, a little bit of cleanliness goes
Dude,
a long way,
Absolutely. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy finding sometimes, I had a motorhome or a trailer or something, you clean it up and,
Yeah.
kind of, you feel proud to have it then,
Right.
especially, but yeah, no, it's, keep your stuff nice.
So going up and down the road, whenever you're racing or whenever you're delivering a trailer or a toter home or anything like that, what's your like go-to snack? Are you a snacker, like candy or like nuts or fruits or?
Yeah, I don't know. It just depends, really. Usually a 32-ounce Coke and,
right.
I don't know, maybe a bag of chips or.
A Coca-Cola Classic guy.
Yeah.
We have Coca-Cola Classic here at Bobster and 5. I saw you get one earlier.
Yeah.
So I got two final pieces that I want to close with here because I think this will be like a good answer to kind of describe Chad Boespflug. Like if I went into the pizza place and I was like, hey, give me the large Chad Boespflug, what would they give me?
Pepperoni with pineapple.
What?
Absolutely.
Pineapple is not made for pizza is what a lot of people are going to say.
It's 50-50. Anytime you ask, I've seen this many a times on the
It's
social
been a
media.
debate.
Yeah, it's a huge debate. Pineapple belongs or doesn't belong, and it's always 50-50.
50-50.
Yeah. So it's, whatever you want to do.
I mean, I don't mind it with Canadian bacon. I never thought about having it with pepperoni.
Yeah, it's good, dude. It's fire.
Man.
It's money.
So
Maybe we'll try it later.
if you were to summarize the way you live your life, if you were to summarize the way you've lived your life up until this point, up until age 33, the ripe old age, how would you describe the life of Chad Boespflug?
I'm a glutton for my own punishment. I always bite off way more than I should.
Really?
And, but I figure it out.
Always figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I always strive for more, but sometimes it causes headaches, but yeah.
Final question, man. You're too good of an interviewer.
Let's do it.
Final question. And we're closing out after this.
I took communications in college.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They always
I
said
aced that class too.
Yeah, I loved it.
Man.
They'd be like, "Oh, this is a spatula. Tell us about this spatula."
250 words later, you're...
Yeah, they're like, all right.
Okay, we get it. It's a spatula.
Yeah.
It's a spatula, dude. Whatever. As you sit tonight and you watch these young kids race, we've got kids from 6 years old and older. Knowing what you know and knowing what you've learned and the career that you've had, what would be a piece of advice that you may give to one of these younger kids that maybe not excelling right off the bat, that's still struggling a little bit to find their way? What would be like a solid piece of advice that you could give to a younger generation driver?
I'd have a couple pieces. Same thing I told Shane, like, it's going to take laps on that grader to get good on that grader. You can't go out there and just bury the blade and think you're going to make it all happen in one pass. Like, it's going to take lots of laps. Same thing like with a race car. Like, it just takes laps. My second piece of advice would not necessarily be for the kids too, but for the parents. Don't if the kid has an opportunity, like, let him go. Like, if a guy calls and says, "Hey, I want you to drive my race car," for me personally, that's where I saw things kind of really take a leap. Like, I always drove my family's race cars. In 2012, 13-ish, my grandpa slowly started to get out. I kind of kept it going myself, and then got the opportunity to race for Paul Hazen, and then it was like, boom, he's an available driver. Like, it's like, oh, he's family. As soon as I got in Paul Hazen's car, like, doors started opening, got rides, got other opportunities. Yeah, and not that I don't think that people are like, oh, he's available now. It's just like, I don't know. People see it differently.
It's not a bad deal that you're a family race car driver.
No, but I just don't.
But if you get the opportunity, don't be like, oh no, I race for my family.
Nobody wants to steal you from your family either.
Right.
Or not say steal you, but like take you away, right? Like, it's a family thing, and it's fun and it's enjoyable and all that. But I felt like, when things progressed for me at a much bigger jump was when I went and raced for Paul Hazen and had success too. That obviously helps, but also you learn other ways of doing things, and you learn, not every race car is the same every time, so you got to like learn it to adapt and change your driving style and things like that. So
it opens up your lines of communication.
Exactly.
The way you communicate with different people.
Yeah, I mean,
it teaches you more than just driving a race car.
Yeah, I ran for Paul Hazen, and then before that, I actually drove the Hoffman 69 a couple times when Darren Hagen was out, and that was cool to me because racing for Richard and Rob Hoffman was eye-opening to, like you said, communication things. Rob had a different way of asking me, are you tight? Are you free? Is your left rear not driving enough, or is it your right rear not driving enough? And not to me, that was like, oh, let's explain this in a different way.
Right.
And maybe it makes, then I was working on my corners of the car.
Right.
One working more than the other, not just the car.
Right.
Like, I'm free, or I'm tight. Like, no, it was like, I need the right rear to drive a little harder, to turn the car a little more, or not enough, or,
Right.
So that really was eye-opening there too, to do that. And I mean, it's hard to go race for, the Hoffmans and not learn something.
So there you go. In closing, laps. Always make laps. It's going to take you time. It's going to take laps. And then always don't pass up an opportunity.
Yep.
Live for the moment.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Thanks for tuning into Haas Talks. This has been Chad Boespflug.
Thanks, guys.